Let me ask you a question. When you guys were kids, did you guys ever create a brand new Dragon Ball story in your head using your imagination or using action figures? Did you guys craft a story around the main characters that we have or had back then in Dragon Ball? Or did you guys create brand new characters of your own and gave them brand new storylines, intermingling with some of the characters from Dragon Ball? Well, this Dragon Ball fan manga is the modern version of creating a Dragon Ball storyline, and it is extremely promising and full of heart.
Know your place, worm. Prepare yourself. Damn Saiyan.
When I was a kid, my family would send me and my brothers and sisters to Guatemala to visit our extended family. When we got down there, they would give us a whole bunch of presents because they had not seen us all year. They knew that I loved Dragon Ball because I had been watching it back in the States on Toonami. So they would get me a plethora of Dragon Ball action figures, and a lot of them I recognized. A lot of them I did not recognize because somehow in Guatemala they were further along in the Dragon Ball storyline than we were in the States. They were in the Majin Buu arc. So when they gave me this character, I didn't know who he was. Later on I find out this is of course adult Gohan in the Majin Buu arc, and then they gave me this character. I had no idea who this guy was, and ended up finding out he was Janemba from the Fusion Reborn movie, and I had no idea who these characters were. So when I was playing with my normal characters, I had to incorporate these characters into my storyline and create brand new names for them, brand new storylines, and that's how my imagination built a story around these characters, and it was essentially a fan-made story. This is the story of Dragon Ball Genesis. This is basically the equivalent of the story that I told you, the modern video game version. I haven't gotten a chance to talk to the creator of this Dragon Ball fan manga, so if he does watch this, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but just going through the profile pictures of this, it looks like this is a story based around characters that he created in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. And if that game does one thing correctly, is character customization. You can create any Dragon Ball character that you want. And of course, their creation process could be a little bit more in depth, and I'm hoping in Xenoverse 3 it is, but they give you the tools to create what you want, and this Dragon Ball fan manga creator seems to have done just that. He created brand new characters on Xenoverse and then decided, it seems like, to create a Dragon Ball fan manga incorporating these three characters. This story takes place in an alternate timeline where Frieza's race has gradually dominated the entire universe, and so it is left to a small ragtag team of freedom fighters to start liberating some of these planets from the grip of the Frost Demon race. And since there is a heavy Xenoverse 2 influence in this manga from my perspective, I think that this doesn't have anything to do with the timelines that we've seen in Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Super. I think this is its own thing where separate planets have different races on it, such as the Majin Buu race, the Namekians, Earthlings, Saiyans, and Frost Demons, just the races that we could see in Xenoverse. As of right now, there are 3 character bios, and it seems like the main character is this guy, Jikama. He is a Saiyan, and his family seems to be stuck in poverty, so they send out Jikama to forage for supplies and get food, water, and bring it back to his siblings. His family is constantly persecuted by a crime organization of Frost Demons that has been extorting the lower classes for quite some time with protection money. One day they cannot pay up this protection money, and so when Jikama comes back from one of his supply runs, he finds that his entire family is dead. And after that day, his only purpose in life is to free his home world from the Frost Demon rule. Jikama's best friend's name is Flute, and he is a Namekian who seems to be on this planet with no family of his own and seems to be some sort of loner. Jikama finds him in the forest where he forages for supplies. They quickly become best friends. And the last character that we're introduced in this story's name is Boob, and her race is the Majin race. Now, the Majin race is the only race that the Frost Demons actually respected in the universe because of their power. And so they offered to become their allies, but the Majin race is a peaceful race and does not approve of what the Frost Demons are doing in the galaxy, so this puts them at odds and eventually causes a huge Frost Demon assault on their clan. This unfortunately leads to their clan's destruction, but the chieftain ends up sending several pods with children out into the universe so that his clan could survive in some way. Boob seems to be one of them, and she ends up landing on an unknown planet, and I'm thinking that she's going to land on the planet where Jikama is, but that's just me speculating. This manga starts off by telling us that the Arcosians, the Frost Demons, are conquering the universe, and so the planet that suffers the greatest casualties to their attack is planet Earth, because they dared to resist with martial artists that knew how to defend themselves, and so this planet was completely wiped out and destroyed off the face of the universe. This caused a chain reaction where planets would not even resist and just give in to Frost Demon rule. So this meant that the Frost Demon Empire's leader, Lord Ice, really didn't have to conquer the universe in such a hard way. He basically just had to leave a puppet ruler on the planet. We then cut to Jikama and Flute sparring on their home planet, and they seem to be much older than their character bios depict them as. They continue their training in a dynamic sequence of panels, and Flute stops the training because he knows that there are Frost Demon patrols coming through the area, and they need to be quiet because they are going to be completely outnumbered if they catch wind of their training. And we get the sense in these panels alone that Flute seems to be thinking more with his head, of course, and Jikama is more of the average Saiyan. He relishes in the thrill of thinking of the next fight. Now, unfortunately, there are only 5 pages of this fan manga right now. It is extremely new, and you can go ahead and read it on their Patreon. Again, I'm going to leave a link to their Patreon and their Facebook page in the description and the top comment. And I want to go ahead and promote this fan manga because not only do I enjoy the fact that they created characters on Xenoverse and then gave them a background story in going full throttle with creating their own fan manga, but I want to support these guys because if they have the passion to create a fan manga on a video game, then I gotta give them kudos to that because I am a big fan of not only Xenoverse 2, but I love games. And so if you want to go ahead and become a patron to the creators of Dragon Ball Genesis, again, their fan manga is going to be in the link below. Go ahead and check them out, support these guys, and help this first chapter of Dragon Ball Genesis be completed. Anyway, guys, that's all the time I have today. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of Dragon Ball Genesis, and if when you were younger you had your very own Dragon Ball fan-made story that you crafted while watching Dragon Ball Z or after watching Dragon Ball Z. This is going to be BlackScape, signing off.